That's it, the Birds are cleaning house, with several coaches being let go and others exploring opportunities. But why could that be signaling a surprising favorite at offensive coordinator? Plus, the Eagles are closing in on defensive addition, which has some significance for this All-Pro. So let's break it down. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Okay, so another week went by, and as we all know, good, bad, or indifferent, we've got our defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio. Obviously, that's gotten mixed feelings about his bend but don't break defense. Yet, although lots of other coaches have tried to replicate it, they're not as effective, which is why I'm choosing to believe it's a positive hire. Plus, like I mentioned previously, when Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, and Kyle Shanahan say Fangio is the toughest DC to scheme against, that's all I need to hear.
Oh, we could try him out for a little while, and it doesn't work out. Maybe one of us could, step in.
What is happening right now?
Fine, I hear you that this philosophy may not be the most ideal, and that we'd better get ready for QBs to slowly pick us apart, because the NFL is a copycat and evolving league, so much like when the Legion of Boom was the hot commodity, it eventually went out of style after some teams had time to break it down and figure out a way to attack the weakness. However, as much as the argument can be used against Fangio's scheme, let's not act like he's just remaining stagnant.
And I think what happens, and you can go back through history, is that things work, and then whatever side of the ball it is, those coaches come up with ways to attack it, and then the other coaches adjust. So it's not a matter of solving. I think because more and more teams play out of a quarter structure, which it was always Fangio's foundation, more and more teams have done that, is more and more offenses now have discovered ways in which to attack it. And so now it's a chess match. Now, and Vic Fangio is a very smart man, so now he's doing the same thing. He's thinking, okay, I see what teams are doing offensively, so now I have to respond as well. So it's not a matter of solving. Everything is tactically cyclical in the NFL, and there's really smart coaches.
Okay, yeah, we all get that, but just like I said a second ago, his scheme isn't for everyone, which is why the Eagles leaked several firings on both sides of the ball, with DJ Elliott, the now former linebackers coach who came over from Temple but didn't have any NFL experience, being let go, as the Birds began interviews with Green Bay Packers former defensive coordinator Joe Barry. Reminder, Barry is a Fangio believer too, and despite Barry's defense ranking 28th in efficiency this season, the 53-year-old has over 20 years of experience coaching in the NFL, with a number of those years spent at linebackers coach, including in 2001 when the Tampa Bay Bucks won the Super Bowl. Also, Mike Caldwell is another name that Philly held interviews with for the position. And in case you don't recall, he's the former Eagles linebacker who also previously coached linebackers with the Eagles and most recently was the defensive coordinator in Jacksonville. Granted, it wasn't the best season for Caldwell and the Jags, but with 10 years of playing experience and 13 years coaching experience in the NFL, I'd be more than happy with the signing. Personally, my pick would probably be Caldwell right now, because this is the dude who coached Devin White and Levante David, and I don't know that this would happen, but I've seen speculation about the fact that both guys being free agents in this offseason might make it even more enticing for Howie to consider bringing him in.
I traded away our washing machine to get him.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's probably the hard part because who knows how much they're going to want in free agency or how much Howie's going to want to pay. Although Devin White did say he wanted to come to Philly last offseason.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Sure, I guess maybe. However, the bigger reason for me to go with Caldwell is hearing what he brings to the table. After a source told Andrew DeCecco, he was commanding in the room because he takes over. He teaches you the game and why we're doing what we do. He can relate to all players in the room no matter how they learn. If you ask me, he's the guy for the job. And also, former Birds legend Hugh Douglas, who played with Mike, said the fellas wouldn't make a whole lot of mistakes with him. I'll tell you that. Mike was one of the smartest linebackers I've ever played with, no question about it. I feel like having veteran coaches like Mike Caldwell in there, they may not be as talented, but they're going to know where to go, they're going to know what to do, and they're going to know their assignments. I'm sold, but how about you guys? Would you want Joe Barry, or is there even a name that we haven't discussed yet? Of course, that's not the only change on the defense, likely, with it being reported that the current pass game coordinator of the Dolphins, Ronaldo Hill, is the prime candidate for the position under Vic Fangio. Again, this is one of those that makes a ton of sense. First off, in case you're not as familiar with Hill, he played 10 seasons in the NFL as a safety, so has the experience of actually doing it, while also coaching previously with Fangio in Denver, and like I said, most recently in Miami. Also, Greg threw out another name to keep an eye on in Joe Casper, because when Fangio was hired by the Dolphins, he convinced Casper to go to Miami with him as a strong safety coach. Plus, Casper's already spent time in Philly the first year with Sirianni as the defensive quality control coach.
A lot of names. Too many.
Okay, well, here's one more for you in Ed Donatel, since this guy's been practically everywhere that Fangio has, although he did take a year off after getting fired as the defensive coordinator for the Vikings last season, but just another name to keep an eye on. All right, how we feeling? Any favorites there? And how about the offense? Since we got several firing leaks there too, when Jeremy Fowler broke the news that Eagles quarterback coach Alec Tanney is exploring other coaching opportunities. I mean, it's not a surprise given the struggles from Hurts this season, and the hope is that you can go in and right this ship to get QB1 back on track. But again, Sirianni made it pretty obvious that more people were going to be out of the building soon.
I hate this for them because we are replacing coordinators, and there's guys that are up in the air, and their families are up in the air in the sense of like, I got to get a coordinator in before we make a decision on maybe some of the quality controls or some of the position coaches. I know I believe in the guys upstairs. But also there has to be an ability for some of the coordinators to bring in, maybe one or two of their guys or more.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to Jalen getting harder coaching. I'm not saying I don't believe in him, but it just didn't feel like we had near the same strengths in positional coaches to help the players be confident, along with the obvious of play calling, sure. Also, another move is that senior offensive assistant Marcus Brady is gone after Ian Rappaport shared that he's interviewing for the Panthers' open offensive coordinator position. Because come on, in case you're doubting all of this, there's no reason that you leak it on a Friday and then tell the guys, hey, go ahead and start interviewing with places unless you're really getting rid of them.
I've got some bad news. You're fired. You need to pack up your things and go. I'm serious.
Okay, but it does still beg the question why they're doing this. Because despite interviewing Kliff Kingsbury along with Kellen Moore of the Chargers and Gerard Johnson from Houston, Kliff and Kellen were virtual, and they've had more recent interview requests with other teams in person. So like Greg says, letting Tanny and Brady pursue other opportunities strengthens my belief that Sirianni knows who his OC will be. If it wasn't decided, they'd likely get the new OC's input first, which leads me to think that either the coach's team is still playing or it's Bieniemy, likely former.
I can't reveal my sources. But it's Greg.
Okay, so who's that name then? Perhaps San Francisco's passing game coordinator Klint Kubiak? And yes, just in case you're not as familiar, Klint is the son of Gary Kubiak, who played and coached under Mike Shanahan. Oddly enough, his son Klint is back under a Shanahan and helping to contribute to the 49ers offensive attack. At the same time though, Klint literally has zero experience calling plays, so much like my argument against Gerard Johnson for the same reason, I'm out on anybody who hasn't done it before. Now that brings up the other coach Greg mentioned in Eric Bieniemy, which is certainly intriguing because like Jeff Kerr shared, the Chiefs scored the most points per game in the NFL, 30.1, when Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2022, along with the most yards per game. Kansas City also had the best record in the NFL during Bieniemy's run, going 64-18 with 5 conference championship game appearances and 2 Super Bowl titles in the 5 years he was offensive coordinator. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes also had the most passing yards, passing touchdowns, and highest passer rating in that span, all with Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator. That's cool and all, except you know it, I know it, and everyone knows it, that was Big Red. Plus, I've been at least a little skeptical with the reports from this past season of Bieniemy's style not relating to players really well. But the more that I think about it, that's probably what we need, because BJ certainly wasn't doing it. Also, let's not forget, Mahomes offered some extra insight into what you're getting with EB.
EB is going to be harsh on you. He's going to really try to get the best out of you every single day. He's not going to he's going to hold you accountable whenever you don't even want to hold yourself accountable. And it made me a better player. And I think what he said, that was the biggest thing, is he's your number one supporter, though. He will go to war with you just like any other guy on your team. And you got to know that. And you got to know when he's talking to you on the football field that he's trying to get the best out of you. He's not trying to put you down. He's trying to push you to be even better than you think you can be. And so that's something that I think that they'll understand when they go out there and they start winning football games, is there's a reason to why he's coaching you the way that he's coaching you, and that he loves you. I mean, he loves every guy that he coaches, and you see that with the guys that have come out and said stuff about him, the Jamal Charles, Adrian Peterson, Tyreek. I mean, they understand that he loves you and he's going to try to get the best out of you every single day.
All right, you guys who've been on the EB train might be starting to win me over, although I still can't deny the fact that I'm a little bit scared of how little Bieniemy would probably run the football. So we might as well start getting the picketing signs ready if that happens. I don't know, surely there's reason the OC news has died down a bit despite eliminating some key positional spots. Either way, let me make sure to reassure you that Jeff Stoutland ain't going anywhere, so no worries on that front. But this is the overhaul we needed. Shift the mindset, shift the focus, get more intensity, and get back on track. Let's see what they go with. This has been the Philly Special.